After dealing with Midas, Apollo departed Mount Tmolus and flew across the sea to the plains ruled by Laomedon, near the narrow Strait of Hella. On the right side of Cape Sagaeum and the left side of Cape Roatum stood an ancient altar dedicated to Zeus, the thunderer who speaks in all his voices. From there, Apollo observed Laomedon's ambitious project, the construction of the Great Walls of Troy, a monumental task indeed. Disguising themselves, Apollo and Poseidon, the god of the sea wielding his trident, assumed human forms and offered to build the walls for Laomedon, the Phrygian king, for a set price in gold. Once the work was finished, Laomedon reneged on the deal, denying ever making such an agreement. "This deception won't go unpunished," Poseidon thundered. He unleashed the fury of the sea upon the shores of greedy Troy. The land was transformed into a raging sea, swallowing the farmers' wealth and inundating the fields. Poseidon's wrath didn't stop there. He demanded Laomedon's daughter as a sacrifice to a sea monster. Heracles, also known as Alcides, later rescued the princess, who was chained to the rocks. In return, he demanded the horses that Laomedon had promised him. Twice deceived, Laomedon still refused to fulfill his promise, further angering Heracles, who then laid siege to the deceitful walls of Troy. Telamon, Heracles' comrade in arms, was also rewarded, receiving Hesione, Laomedon's daughter, as his wife. But Peleus, another hero, received an even grander prize, a goddess for his wife. Not only was he proud of being Zeus's grandson, but he also took pride in having a god as his father-in-law. While others may boast of their lineage, Peleus was unique, the only mortal married to a goddess. Zeus, the king of the gods, was informed by the sea god Proteus that Thetis, a sea goddess, would give birth to a son who would surpass his father in greatness. Concerned about this prophecy, Zeus avoided Thetis and instead chose Peleus, his grandson, to marry her. There was a secluded bay in Haemonia with a shallow shore and a grove of myrtle nearby, where a hidden cave provided the perfect meeting spot. Thetis often visited this place alone, riding on a harnessed dolphin. One day, Peleus discovered Thetis there, fast asleep. He seized her, determined to win her affection. However, Thetis was not easily captured. She used her powers to change into various forms: a bird, a tree, and even a spotted tiger. Despite her resistance, Peleus persisted. Eventually, Thetis relented and returned to her human form. Peleus' determination had won her heart, and they were married, becoming the parents of the legendary Achilles. Peleus appeared to have everything: a beautiful wife, a mighty son, and a seemingly content life. However, he harbored a dark secret from his past, the murder of his own brother, Phocus. This crime forced Peleus to flee his homeland and seek refuge in Trachis, a kingdom ruled by King Ceyx. At the time, King Ceyx was mourning the loss of his own brother. Arriving in Trachis with only a few followers and his herds, Peleus presented himself to King Ceyx, bearing a symbol of peace. He revealed his identity and lineage, but concealed the true reason for his exile, stating only that he needed a place to stay. Moved by Peleus' tale and impressed by his noble lineage, King Ceyx warmly welcomed him, offering whatever assistance he could, despite his own sorrow. He regretted being unable to provide more support due to his own recent loss. Peleus, intrigued by the king's sorrow, inquired about its cause. King Ceyx began to explain, saying, "You may find this hard to believe, but the fearsome hawk, once a man named Dedalion, wasn't always a bird of prey. Dedalion, Ceyx's brother, was a bold and warlike man, unlike Ceyx, who preferred peace. However, Dedalion's love for war led to his downfall, and he eventually transformed into the hawk we know today. Here's how it happened. Dedalion had a beautiful daughter named Chione. When she reached adulthood, both Apollo and Hermes, son of Maia, fell in love with her. Apollo waited until nightfall to express his affection, but Hermes, using his magic sleep wand, seized the opportunity and lay with Chione that very night. Chione became pregnant, uncertain whether Apollo or Hermes was the father. She gave birth to twins, Autolycus, a cunning thief, son of Hermes, and Philemon, a renowned musician, son of Apollo. Despite her divine offspring, Chione met a tragic end. Blinded by hubris, she dared to compare her beauty to that of the goddess Artemis, who, in a fit of rage, slew Chione with an arrow. Heartbroken by his sister's death, Ceyx witnessed her funeral pyre. Overwhelmed with grief, he attempted to hurl himself into the flames 4 times, but each time something prevented him. Suddenly, Ceeks sprouted wings and transformed into a swift hawk. Apollo, taking pity on him, had spared his life by turning him into a bird. Now a hawk, Ceeks remained perpetually restless and aggrieved. He preyed upon other birds, haunted by the memory of his lost sister. As Ceeks finished recounting his tale, a shepherd named Phocian Antenor arrived with urgent news. "Peleus," cried Antenor, "a terrible disaster has occurred. I bring word of a grave calamity." Filled with apprehension, Peleus demanded to know the details. Antenor explained that while tending the cattle by the seashore, a monstrous wolf emerged from a nearby marsh. The frenzied beast savagely attacked the herd, killing many cattle and injuring several shepherds who tried to defend them. The shore now bore witness to a scene of bloodshed, with the sounds of battle filling the air. Antenor implored Peleus to take swift action, urging them to arm themselves and repel the monster. Upon hearing this news, however, Peleus felt not fear, but guilt. He remembered his own crime of murdering his brother Phocus, fearing that this calamity might be the vengeance of a grieving sea nymph, perhaps sent by Phocus's mother.